Once upon a time, there was an heroic knight. He loved his town of Minton and always did his best to protect it. But he had a very difficult job. Dragons kept eating the city's mint. The knight drove them off every time and always did his best, even though the people didn't thank him for it. They were too worried about losing all their cold hard mint, because the dragons would not stop attacking. Finally, the townspeople had had enough, and decided the knight should go out and finish the dragons off once and for all. So the king sent the knight out to face the dragons alone. But rather than fighting, the dragons grabbed the knight and flew away. The dragons took the knight back to their lair and threw him in a corner, sending the smallest dragon to watch him. The knight noticed that the other dragons did not respect the smallest dragon, and knew how it felt. The smallest dragon had never had anyone be nice to it, because the other dragons made fun of it for its monohedia. Meanwhile, in town, it was still a dragon, so the people were terrified of it. So the two became friends. The smallest dragon decided to teach its new friend about its culture. The knight learned how the dragons that have the freshest breath were the most ferocious and most respected. The only way to freshen their breath was to attack the town and eat a bunch of mint. And the most heads, the more mint they could eat. So, the smallest dragon, who had a low head count, had little respect. The knight thought a bit on this new knowledge, until he came up with a brilliant idea to help his newfound friend. First, he used his head. Then, he pulled out some socks and told his friend to put on a smile. When the head dragon went to check on the two, something was different. The two of them had sprung an extra head each, and the smallest dragon had the cleanest chompas it had ever seen. The head dragon couldn't deal with this. It came up with a cunning strategy. They kicked the knight out. The knight returned to his town of Minton, failure heavy on his head. The other head. Both his heads. But to his surprise, the people began celebrating. They were super happy to have their defender back. And then the dragons showed up too. The people were less happy about that. But as the knight stepped forward to defend his people one last time, the smallest dragon also came forward. It had convinced the more headstrong dragons that the town had more to offer than just mint. The knight then got all the townspeople together and all the brushes they could find. And the knight showed everyone how to brush the dragon's teeth, and soon all their breath was fresh. With no more reason to attack the town, the dragons were finally peaceful, and the people were less scared. And everyone lived happily ever after, with the brightest smiles in all the land. The end.